What's up, y'all? It's just me today. This is your boy host, TREY SMITH. Ruckus couldn't be here today. She is currently... Fuck it, I'm just lying. Ruckus is currently writing up some cease and desist letters where we're going to misspell our names wrong and not go through the courts and hand them to the people they're intended to. Nah, she's actually doing parenting duties, so shouts out to her and the kiddos. But today... we're going to talk about something that I've been dying to talk about, actually. I really wish Ruckus was here for this one. But we're going to talk about moving on. There's really no Webster Dictionary definition for it. We all go through it to some capacity in life. But this more so is going to be about relationships and some of the just unnecessary bullshit we go through in the process of moving on. Now, for those of y'all who know just kind of what I've been through over the past few months with the passing of my father, there was someone in the midst of all that, some of y'all know, I've talked about it, I'm pretty open about it at this point, that continuously just kept up bullshit in the middle of everything that I was dealing with, you know, from showing up to my father's funeral drunk, showing up to my son's birthday drunk and acting an ass, and showing up to my sister's baby shower acting ass. It just never ended. And I reached a point where I looked up and was like, you know what, man, we're both too old for this shit. I need to move on from the space that you seem to constantly have me in. So if that means just not speaking to you, not engaging and interacting with you outside of course, our child, then I'm just not going to do that. As we get older, we become more of a people where certain shit we might have tolerated from other people, wanting to get a better understanding of why someone would hurt us, that shit don't matter to us as we get older. We just kind of move on from it and be like, this person don't mean me no well, they can keep that shit where they at, right? So I'm gonna go into a couple of things today, and some of these are questions that I thought of, some are, you know, Ruckus thought of, some are people that we interact with and knew the subject of today's show, and they threw a couple of questions at us. One of the biggest questions that came our way was, does discussing past failed relationships mean you have not moved on? And, you know, let me let y'all know that shit is can't be further from the truth. And just from my experience, I'm more of a person who, when I'm hurt and I'm, still internalizing everything, I keep it to myself. I don't really speak on it in the moment. Um, when I've moved on is when I'm more comfortable discussing it, because by that point, I'm not considering the what ifs, the whys, or why me and this person separated and we just couldn't get it together. At that point, I don't care anymore. So it's never wrong. A lot of times it helps to get that stuff off of y'all's chest. Um, some of us let it build and build and build, and you don't want to end up like me in the hospital and shit because you just try to let things go in a way that's not healthy for you. Let them go. Sometimes we do have to accept that the answers that we may want or hope for from a person are answers that we're just not going to give. And you have to leave that shit on the floor sometimes. That's the best thing you can do for your sanity and your health. So, it absolutely doesn't mean you care. It's just sometimes you need to get that shit off your chest. Now, there is a healthy way to get it off your chest. Being a shitty person to other people and being rude to other people because of what happened to you previously, that's absolutely not the way. I don't condone that. I do support, discussing it in a healthy way, laughing about it, moving forward about it, looking and being like, damn, I'm actually not the problem. Now, in my experience that I was talking about earlier, I had to start being quiet so everyone else around me could see that I wasn't the problem there. I had to stop being the one that's quick to defend my side and quick to jump to, hey, y'all, this isn't me. This is her. And, because at that point in time, it looks like both of us. So I had to learn to be quiet in that sense. But definitely always get it off your chest. Don't let it sit there. Don't let it fester. Don't let it get you bitter. Don't let it make you upset, because some people, they don't care. They don't care. They will move on with their lives. It doesn't matter what they did to you. It doesn't matter if they were wrong. Um, and you have to, the ugly, unfortunate part of that is you have to accept that it's very possible that it could happen. Um, Next thing I want to get into is some of the signs. Like, what are some of the signs that you knew moving on was coming? And I hope y'all get into the chats in the comment section and give me some of y'all's experience so we can go over them. Because I'm gonna get into some of mine, but I want y'all to help me fill up just a little bit of time. That's all. But I feel like some of the signs that I knew things were ending for me was just, there was a certain level of communication that wasn't there no more. There was a certain place I was trying to get to in life, and I could tell this person was still here. And I've said this quote many a times on the show before, but I remember specifically the day that I came in and told this person, I don't feel like I can keep a boat afloat when the co-captain keeps kicking holes in it. And when that person didn't realize what I was saying, or felt like I got that from somebody else. Now, people who know me know I'm a creative and a writer, so playing with metaphors and things like that just is second nature to me. So when this person thought that it was just some shit I made up or didn't understand what I was saying, I knew that was the downfall from there. The optimistic side of me kept holding on, um, hoping that it would get better. And I think that's where we ultimately hurt ourselves, is not accepting the fact that it's probably not going to get better with this person. It's okay for people to grow apart. People do it all the time. And sometimes you have to identify that and really decide for one another, do you mean each other well? Is it going to be good or healthy for y'all to stick with one another? And that day made it very, very easy to kind of distance myself. Now, of course, in my experience, I got accused of cheating all along the fucking way, even though there's more than enough proof that this person was the one who probably fucked around. But it's hard to communicate with someone who doesn't understand that you're growing apart, and that, hey, maybe this ain't it. Maybe this ain't everything that we thought it would be. And I think that's where the pettiness and the back and forth comes through, is when you realize, like, this ain't for me. This ain't the environment I want to be in as far as a relationship, or as far as calling myself loving someone. and that person doesn't want to let that part of it go. And it's like, now you have this quote unquote beef, or I don't know, the hit word y'all using right now is toxic. And I'll be glad when y'all are over that shit, but that's another story. One of the questions that we also got was, is it easier to gaslight and play victim than it is to take accountability? Hell yes. And I'm not saying that personally for me, but I'd love to get y'all's opinion in the comment section. So definitely tap in with us. For people who don't want to take accountability for the mistakes they've made or how they made someone feel in a negative light, it's very easy for them to gaslight and say, well, if you didn't take it this way, and crazy shit like that I'm sure all of us have heard at some point in time in dealing with people who are narcissistic, which is also a hit word right now, but that's kind of their thing. It becomes, you start to question your sanity. I've seen people be gaslit in a way that they start to question, damn, is something really wrong with me? And the people who aren't afraid to, and it takes a lot. It does take a lot for us to, even when we know we're wrong, when we can admit that we're wrong, it takes a lot in us as humans to really look at someone and go, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made you feel this way. That wasn't my intentions. Nonetheless, I apologize. I've had to do it, and I regret doing it to the person actually, because, well, they kicked up the bullshit a notch. We're not going to get into who that is. We don't care no more. I don't care unless we got a baby as far as who I dated. And that's the only proof that we dated. So the rest of y'all, I don't know none of y'all. But it's very easy on their end because it voids them of the accountability. It voids them of having to admit they were wrong. And a lot of times it doesn't help that those people have someone in their corner and it's usually a parent. And luckily for me, I got parents who were like, nah, if you wrong, you wrong. And I'm going to tell y'all, he ain't shit right now. He was wrong. But, a lot of times it's someone in their corner who is allowing such behavior and not checking and correcting them. I will say to men and women, be mindful of the people around who you're dating. I don't want anybody around me who can't call me on my bullshit, won't call me on my bullshit. Even if I know I'm on some bullshit, won't stop and go, nah, man, you wrong. So that's mindful out here when you dating. Pay attention to that. Otherwise, you end up with niggas in your face talking about, girl, you the only thing he think about all day. And women, y'all do that shit too. I know from experience, trust me. I disappeared with my car for 3 days, and I got that bullshit excuse of, yeah, that's you the only one she loves. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does you're the only one he loves? That shit don't make me feel better about whatever was going on afterwards. Like, no. So yeah, definitely try to avoid those type of people who don't know how to take accountability for their bullshit behavior. I think a lot of times we love someone too much that moving on breaks us. We look at these points in times where we've held on so long, hoping to get the same attentiveness and attention out of that person. And when we don't get it, when we finally have to let it go, it devastates us. And I think we all have been guilty of that at some point in time, is hoping we see the better in somebody instead of seeing them for who they are. We have to start learning to meet people where they are. Compromise is one thing when it's mutual. When you look up one day and you're making all the compromise, that's a whole other thing, wherein you don't want to compromise so much so that you've lost who you are, you've lost the things that you love, the things that you enjoy, you've lost friends, you've lost family, you've been distanced from people who really love you and know who you really are, and know that this ain't you. The unhappiness and, you know, constantly letting go of what makes you happy to please someone else. And I, I can't stress it enough to people. Don't ever lose so much of your happiness and lose so much of the things that you love that one day you look up and have no idea who you are, and the people who you made that sacrifice for are just kind of looking at you like, I don't know what to tell you, because those type of people will do it to you every single time. So you have to know where to meet people at. Meet them if they on their bullshit. You meet them right there on that bullshit. Or if you don't feel like it, distance yourself from the bullshit. If they up here and they matching your interest and where you want to go with things and making time for you and vice versa, meet them there. Try. And if you can't, communication is key. Communication, a lot of things can be fixed by just having simple conversations. I say that all the time as well. When two people are communicating, it's very, very easy to get an understanding. When the intentions are good, of course, the intentions have to be good. It can't be some dickhead you keep telling to not leave your car without gas, and every time you look up, he leaves it without gas. He don't give a shit. He not gonna compromise. But definitely communicate with someone to figure out where they are, and actions as well. Actions show you who a person is every time. Every time, actions will show you who a person is, and you have to take that for who they are. You have to take that for face value instead of believing, that these people will change. Some people are content with who they are, and that's just where you have to leave them at. One of the things, another question that we had was, how long did it take to move on from a serious relationship? For me personally, I think I attempted to date maybe 2 years after my last relationship, because I knew in that time frame I was going to be a whole ass dog, because I had tried being the good man, building a foundation, building a home for me and this person and our child. I mean, shit, y'all kind of know who it is. It don't matter to me. But I tried to be that person. So once it was established that we were never going to get back to that point, I wanted to be any and everybody but that person, that tries to build a foundation in a happy home as far as a couple goes, and has all these goals and ideas and thoughts of what a relationship is supposed to be, and it turns out to be completely far from what I wanted. Even to this day, and it's been like 7 years since that last serious relationship. I'm not gonna lie, I don't count shit that didn't go over 6 months. So if we just missed the 6 month mark, well, you're leasing with an option to buy at that point. So, and the reason it took so long for me personally is, when you go through an experience where you're doing everything right, or you're doing everything that you thought was right, or this person told you was the right thing, and it's still not enough, you kind of start to wonder, like, is everything that I wanted relationship wise, was it bullshit, or what am I getting wrong in this case? And even now, like, y'all know our dating pool. Our dating pool has piss, heroin needles, and dead bodies in it. So, I haven't. I've been interested, but everybody fucking around with everybody in Colorado. So you'd be hard pressed to find someone who's to themselves and don't know everybody, and hopefully that moves forward. Now, in discussing past relationships, that failed and moving on. Um, I would say, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I would say in moving on, don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck holding on to the things that you didn't feel great about. Don't get stuck letting someone make you feel like uh, you were in the wrong, or you're insecure, or you know that that gut feeling that something don't feel right is just paranoia. Don't let anybody put you in that position, like, ever. Um, because again, losing so much of yourself is the worst thing we can do. Being genuinely who you are. Trust me when I tell you, it's billions of people on this planet on both sides of genders, and there's more than enough people for you to find somebody who's going to accept you for you. Um, when you're not at your best, when you're at your lowest, you're gonna see you'll see more of that. Staying true to yourself. Of course, don't be the same person you've always been. We can't be the same people we were. I can't be the same person I was in my 20s that I am in my 30s, getting ready to go into my 40s. Sometimes change is necessary for two people to grow. Um, but just don't compromise your entire self. So, anywho, I think we should take a break, and then we'll come back and discuss this just a little bit more in detail.
Healthcare tip of the week. Get a journal. Track gratitude and achievements. Include 3 things you are grateful for and 3 achievements you had each day.
Power of one is community. Power of one is unity. Power of one is understanding who you are. Power of one is consolidation. Power of one is a reality check. Power of one is who you are.
All right, and we are back on But What Do I Know? Topic is moving on. Again, Ruckus isn't here. Parenting duties call. Gotta love him. We love kids around here. Anyway, another thing I wanted to get into before we head out in a little while is when moving on. This is a hot topic, and a lot of y'all like doing this crazy shit for whatever reason. Don't destroy somebody's property. I've seen so many times that people move on and go into a fit of rage and let someone take you out of an element where you can handle it accordingly. 9 times out of 10, people who know that they can piss you off and have done it repeatedly are going to try to do it every single time, because it becomes some weird thing mentally for them to get that reaction out of you. So I don't condone destruction of property. Don't tear up nobody's shit. You don't want to end up in court with no cost that ultimately you can avoid. Me personally, I like throwing shit away. I was quick to, if you dog me and you left something at my crib, you got to come get that shit before I throw it into the dumpster. I made that threat multiple times, and they sure enough came and got it. No, one time I did throw that shit in the dumpster because she just didn't believe me. She came and got her shit. We can't fly so much into a fit of rage that, we go blind and I get it. It hurts. Sometimes that shit cuts deep, and, you want to just, Go to a damage room or throw some axes or something. But please don't tear one another's shit. Ladies, don't throw the Jordans in the tub and bleach them all up and all that old crazy shit. Don't go wet the PS5. Sell it. Sell it. I do support if you want to sell a nigga PS5 because he just won't get right, because that would hurt him more. See, I'm going to help us. I'm going to help us collectively do the things that work better. Also, we talk about it often on this show, keeping your hands to yourself. Domestic violence, it's never, that should never be the solution to whatever the conflict is. There should never be, it should never resort in people putting hands on one another. That's men and women. Now, I know we hear about it more with men, and y'all know my stance has always been men who hit women are pussies. And I hope every time I say it, they watch the show to know, like, yeah, I'm talking about you. But both sides should keep their hands to themselves and learn to deal with it in a way that doesn't result in catching a domestic violence charge. I don't know if y'all know this, but there's so much shit you can't do once you get a domestic violence charge in the state of Colorado, or a lot of states for that matter. So definitely keep your hands to yourself and just learn to walk away. Trust me when I tell you, people that you just walk away from and don't show any emotion to, that shit kills them more than you putting your hands on them, put them in the hospital, destroying some of their shit, busting windows. All of that could be repaired, but there's certain things that if you do to a person because you know who they are and you know what kind of reaction they expect out of you, they will fall apart every single time. Trust me on this. And then the last thing I want to get into is when something doesn't work out and this person decides to move on, is it okay that they move on with a friend? Because someone asked me that. I've had it happen before. I've had it happen in a way that I just, we have to understand we don't control anybody. We're nobody's property. As much as we want to say, yo, it's not cool, the chances of it happening are high and likely. Nobody's our slave. We can't stop people from what they want to do. And if two people find one another attractive, 9 times out of 10, certain things are going to happen. Now, of course, there is a respect thing where you want to respect, the relationship and the dynamic with someone and keep in mind how they felt about that person. But for the most part, again, you have to move as if you can't control what anybody else does. And you shouldn't go into any situation wanting to control anyone. I feel like you should want to develop a better understanding between one another, the things that make each other want to stay together and be in love and shout from the rooftops how much you love a person and that you think the world of them. It should never be about wanting to control somebody. I don't want to be with nobody that I can control. I don't think anybody should be with someone that you can control. That's weird to want something obedient. That's what we have pets and shit for, That's what we have. I mean, I'm not saying we have children to be obedient, but your children are supposed to obey and listen to you in that way when they're kids, and then up until they're adults and they're making their own decisions. But as far as someone we claim to love, we shouldn't want that. And that's one of the things that I feel like pushes people to move on, is having somebody wanting to control every aspect of your life. I've had my siblings, one of my sisters dated a man who, y'all know him, he's kind of popular, he does tattoos. And he was just wanting to be controlling in every way. What she wears, who she hangs out with, how she wears her hair, what she, like, just so much crazy shit that it's like, it's one thing to make a suggestion to someone. It's a whole other thing to be like, nah, if you with me, you can't do X, Y, Z, this, and this. And I feel like if it's something that's not directly hurting you or directly damaging the relationship, but you may not be comfortable with it or something like that. Again, that falls back on having a conversation, not wanting to control someone and tell them what they can and can't do, because we're born to move free like that. That's what we're here for. But we're not gonna keep y'all all night. We're gonna cut it short. We're gonna keep it real nice and sweet for y'all. I didn't want to go too deep into this because my co-host ain't here. So, and it ain't no fun when the co-host ain't here, man. It's pure shenanigans and guns and stripper. Y'all don't see the guns and strippers on camera, but we got them. I promise we do. But I'm gonna get on up out of here. We'll let you know when Ruckus will be back. We'll figure that out soon for you. Next week, I'm definitely gonna have a guest on you because I like the topic that this guest is, wanted to discuss with me. So I look forward to that. But until then, we're going to get up out of here. We'll see you next weekend on the AHRR Network. Of course, you can follow Ruckus on Facebook at Ruckus303 and Ruckus the Queen. And you can follow me at TREY SMITH, Trey the Artist page on Facebook, and Womack was here 83 on Instagram. I still don't remember my Twitter. Fuck it. Y'all take it easy. We'll see y'all next week.